Thanks for joining us on another edition of the Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. You're watching another edition of the Small Business Show right here exclusively on ASBN.com. From music studios to the world of breakfast tables, Cam Meekins, recording artist and the co-founder and CEO of Stone Skillet, has turned English muffins, yes, folks, I said English muffins, into a fast-growing brand now found in retailers like Whole Foods and Publix. So that's an amazing feat right there. So Cam joins us today to share how his story unfolded and what he's learned along the way. So Cam, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule there, cooking up muffins every day, to join us on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Sure. So let's start with your background as a recording artist. That's not the usual path to becoming a food entrepreneur. So how did the journey from music to English muffins happen?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic for sure. But for me, it's always been about this love of being an entrepreneur. I'll start back when I was 15. Actually, I was in a life-threatening accident. I got hit by a jet ski.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I lost my spleen in the accident, and had this moment where I kind of almost had a life-threatening experience. And coming out of that, I had this realization at the young age of 15 that you have to do what you love in life. And for me at first, that passion was music. And so I leaned into becoming a musician and putting out music when I was in high school and selling CDs in my cafeteria in an entrepreneurial way, and eventually used the internet to promote my music, and always loved the small business aspect of it, the hustle, the grind.
Yeah.
And as I was pursuing my music career, my brothers started Stone Skillet. They came up with the idea because my brother was working for a regional bread company, and his job was selling bread wholesale to all the restaurants in Boston. And they kept asking him for an artisan English muffin. And he would go back to his boss and try and pitch him on the idea, let's make artisan English muffins, let's do it. And his boss was like, no way. We make sourdough bread. We don't make English muffins, but you're welcome to try it out yourself.
Sure.
And I was still deep in my music career. I was actually living in Los Angeles, kind of coming back and forth to Boston, where we're all from. And I was on a trip back to Boston, and we were all hanging out in my brother's apartment, and we're trying to figure out a recipe. And we're rolling these dough balls on a stone countertop and griddling them on a cast iron skillet. And our other brother, Nick, was like, guys, that's the name, Stone Skillet.
Stone Skillet.
And we looked at each other and we were like, all right, we got it. We got the brand. Let's do it. And so we started selling to those restaurants that he had relationships with, and eventually that became farmers markets. And one day we were doing a farmers market, and this woman came up to our booth and she said, hey, how come you're not in Whole Foods yet? And we were like, we'd love to be in Whole Foods, but we have no idea how to do that. And she slipped us her business card, and she was actually the local forager for our New England area Whole Foods. And so she brought us into our first Whole Foods store. And that's when the second light bulb went off of, wow, this could be a real CPG brand. And so as we built the business over years and years, I slowly transitioned out of my music career and into this love of being an entrepreneur and wanting to help grow this company. And eventually that converged around COVID times. And our dad, who was very involved in the business as well, he passed away, and that kind of motivated me to, get under the hood of the family business and find out where we could take it to the next level.
Sure.
So I became the CEO in 2021 and have been growing it and taking the brand national from our original kind of New England roots. So
that's fantastic.
It's an interesting dynamic of, hip hop music to English muffins. But for me, it always made sense. And it was always about this love of being an entrepreneur and really making something of high quality that people, love to interact with.
It almost sounds like you were more in love with being an entrepreneur than you were not necessarily making muffins, right? I mean, the muffins was kind of the vehicle to the entrepreneurship, right?
Sure. Yeah, I've always had a love for the natural food world for whatever reason. Always cared about what I ate. I think it really stems from that accident that I had when I was a kid. I was very health conscious from a young age. And so I always thought about, I was a big Whole Foods shopper. I loved the organic food scene, and had some friends that started businesses in this space. A good friend of mine started Slate Chocolate Milk, which is an awesome company, and a couple other brands that I've seen, from the ground up. And so I've always randomly been connected to the CPG world. And when my brother had the idea for the English muffin business, It was a natural progression, and obviously a big bread guy. My family, we've always been foodies and baking bread and cinnamon rolls and all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Our aunt is a big cinnamon roll connoisseur, and so we have this family recipe of all these different baked goods.
Oh,
And so,
I hear the
yeah.
next product coming down the line.
Oh yeah,
It-
totally.
So let me ask you the fact remains, when companies like yours, young entrepreneurs come out with a product and it starts to pick up and it starts to scale a little bit, but Whole Foods is another story entirely, right? So when you get that call or when that lady comes by your booth and says, "Hey, I think I can make this happen for you," sometimes it's like good news and very concerning news, because how are you going to deliver the goods and scale that quickly on the baking and the packaging and everything that a company like Whole Foods demands from their vendors? Did that happen to you where it's like, whoa, wait a minute, we can do, whatever it might be. We can do X number of muffins a weekend or a week or what have you. They're talking about thousands of muffins over a short period of time, right?
Yeah, it's always a progression. And when back in those days, I mean, we started out making it in the apartment. I mean, we had flour coming out the walls of the apartment. The landlord was trying to kick my brother out because there was pallets of flour coming in, and we were griddling them one by one on a cast iron skillet. Right,
Oh my
that was
gosh.
the whole stone and skillet kind of thing, and that worked for a couple weeks when we were doing restaurants. When we eventually graduated to true retail, we took over an old pizza shop in our town.
Okay.
And created our first bakery, and had to take a step change approach of, okay, now we need to think in terms of thousands, not tens or hundreds.
Yeah.
Right. And this was over 10 years ago now when we first started this, and just kind of grew it brick by brick. But along every step of the way, you had to start thinking bigger. And even still today, now having just launched in 1,400 Publix stores about a few weeks ago.
Wow.
That was another stepped approach of, wow, okay, we were at this level of capacity, now we need to be here.
Right.
And so how do you stay ahead of capacity in the facility and take advantage of the opportunities in the market? It's a constant balance.
Right.
Because you don't want to get over bloated with investing too much ahead of production and everything like that.
Sure.
So it's always a balance, but for us, I think it really just boils down to maintaining the quality, because the reason that we have the opportunity that we do is because we're the premium English muffin.
Yeah.
So no matter what, focusing on that premium element, the artisanal way that we do it in small batches, no matter how big we scale, we're always going to have that part of the process be artisanal, be clean ingredients.
Sure.
That's what a Stone and Skillet English muffin is.
Gotcha.
So how do you find that balance and scale?
Now, when you start to scale like that, this is an area that is really uncharted for you, I would imagine, unless you've scaled other food companies before, which I don't think you have. Do you need to bring in experts, or do you consult with people that are already in that industry that are producing products at that level where you're, being able to handle so many different grocery stores nationwide? That seems like a whole nother step that you just say, wait a minute, we've never done anything like this before. We're going to need an expert in this field.
Yeah, I think there's two sides to that. I'll give you a good hip hop quote because of my background. Jay-Z said, everybody can tell you how to do it, they never did it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's one side of it, which is, I think as an entrepreneur, I fundamentally believe you have to trust your instincts.
Yeah.
And figure it out as you go a little bit, and believe that you have the skill set to solve the problems. You might not solve it in the best way on the first try, but your skill set, your approach, your mentality can get you to the end result you're looking for. So that's one part of it. I think the other side of that coin is you do need to surround yourself with people who can work with you, collaborate, give you advice, think through some things.
Sure.
And people that have been there before. I've got a great partner, Jamie Bortek, who is one of my core people in the business, who has worked at a lot of great food companies, Grillo's Pickles, Justin's Nut Butter. I think he's seen brands like this scale.
Sure.
I've been able to tap into his advice over the years of how do you scale a business like this, which is super critical. So
yeah, of course.
Hoping not to sound ridiculous, but some balance in between those two forces on my shoulder, I think is kind of the right way to look at it.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So tell me about these muffins. I mean, you when you jump into the English muffin, and I love English muffins, so I think I've tried them all except yours, but I will be going to Publix to get yours. So, I mean, obviously this is a somewhat crowded field, and you've got some really big players. Obviously, Thomas's English muffins. I mean, you're up against the big boys out there, right? So, what do you feel makes yours different to attract that loyal consumer of the product?
Yeah, from day one, the need was making a premium English muffin for the best restaurants in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all about really high quality, because what they were doing they were having these Sunday brunch menus with these $25, $30 Eggs Benedict dishes and, a kind of cheap English muffin to go with it. It didn't make sense. And so how do we match the quality of the dish to the English muffin?
Sure.
And that was the first problem that we needed to solve. And we never really left that territory of premium quality. That's been the recipe from day one, is this cornmeal crusted, griddled, buttery, delicious English muffin that uses real butter. It's, simple ingredients. It's made in a small batch way. So you get this kind of distinct uniqueness to every batch. And the flavor is almost akin to like a fried dough taste because of the way that we have real butter in the product, and it's denser. It's not as small as a traditional English muffin.
Sure.
So it can be applied for a burger bun or all types of different things, or just throw butter on it and it's like a substantial snack.
Yeah.
Whereas I think historically English muffins might have been an afterthought to the plate. We're trying to make it the main thing.
Right.
And higher protein, good nutrition into it.
Sure.
That's always been the focus. So I really think it stems from the original need for the product in restaurants, and then we realized that there was a real demand in the grocery store for that premium option as well.
Sure.
And we just I believe it was a lot of luck and good timing, and we think there's a lot of upside to really be that premium muffin on the market.
Sure. That's great. How do you get the consumers to try the new product? You're shopping in Publix or Whole Foods and you're looking at English muffins. How do you get that consumer to choose your English muffin over the ones that maybe they've already tried and know, right?
I've always said that the best marketing starts in the four walls of the facility. And we now have a very large facility in Dorchester, Massachusetts, where we're making, hundreds of thousands of muffins out of this plant on a weekly basis. And I think the best marketing tool we have is the quality of the product. In the packaging of the product, we have, clear bags. We've got our logo and everything, but we want to make sure that you can see the muffin the way that it stands up on the shelf, so that you can see, wow, that's a substantial big muffin. That looks delicious. And that's that marketing moment in the store. So I think first and foremost, it starts with the product.
Sure.
But now as we've expanded and we're now getting into new territories like Publix, it's a whole new ballgame of how do you educate new market. We are Boston company originally. Now we're in Florida. How do you educate that new market that there's another English muffin on the block that has a great value proposition to you as a premium item?
Maybe utilizing foodies that are online, food specialists and people, influencers, I should say, food influencers. I've attended or gone to a number of different restaurants based on what I've seen from some local influencer that says, you got to try this place, it was amazing, and they show videos of it and what have you. Are you utilizing that as well, of people that have said, you got to try these muffins, they're out of this world?
Absolutely. And I think our goal is to really build a real community around the product. And we've got a great team of people that I'm lucky to work with and partner with on the social side that have been doing great things from a content standpoint. I think building our real community. We just did a fun pop-up down in Birmingham, Alabama when we launched in Publix, and we had this amazing bakery down there called Last Call Bakery, and we sold out our 100 plus English muffin sandwiches in 50 minutes and had 150 people lined up around the door. So I think it's a combination of social and digital activation, but also we believe in real life activation too, and using social as a tool to engage in real life and build a community. Because I think a lot of brands you can pay and get yourself pretty far with a social influencer campaign. but can you create real love for a product, real
Right. Real
community?
fans, real raving
Yeah,
fans.
real fans that can
Right.
talk at the dinner table to their partner or their friends
Right.
about a product. And we believe it's really best to do that organically and really just spread the word of the product, spread the product
Sure.
itself. We like to give people a lot of product, make sure they
Sure.
try it, because we believe once they
Sure.
try it, they become lifelong fans.
Sure. And once you've got that consumer that is a fan of Stone and Skillet, that opens the door to bring in new products, right? And so, talk to me about that. Are there already products on the drawing board, or in the kitchen, I should say, or maybe on the skillet,
Yeah.
that you're saying, okay, because I know as a consumer, if I trust a brand like Stone and Skillet, I'm going to be thinking, well, if I see something else, maybe it's your aunt's cinnamon muffins or what have you, they must be good because these people have a great name.
Yeah, I believe Stone and Skillet can be a platform that could be a lot of different innovative products.
Sure.
We're very focused on what we think is a tremendous opportunity to be the best English muffin brand in the world. And
There you go.
I think, we're all in on that.
Yeah.
But I also believe that the stone countertop and the cast iron griddle and that fundamental part of our brand can mean a lot of different things over the years and how things play out. So
Sure. Sure.
we'll see what the future holds for us, but we're also super focused on English muffins. And I will say, one way that we innovate that's really fun is with great flavors. We do a pumpkin spice English muffin in the fall. We've got an orange cranberry muffin in Publix right now.
That's great.
So we have fun with the flavors.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
keep the core of the English muffin at the heart of everything that we do.
That's fantastic. So let me ask you this: you're a few brothers in an apartment, and you're just making muffins all day as fast as you possibly can, and then you jump into actually your own space with a full kitchen and what have you. What through all of this, and I know that as a founder myself of companies, there are a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of time when you're like, what were we thinking, or how are we going to go to the next level here, or where's the money going to come from just to support us until those checks start rolling in? Because some of those big companies that you mentioned, man, they can pay 90 days down the road. I mean, well, you got to keep supplying them with muffins, right? What keeps you motivated during all of this, all of the up and down that a lot of founders and a lot of entrepreneurs go through?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's probably the one common denominator across all entrepreneurs. I think you got to love it no matter what, and I know that no matter what I am doing, I'm going to be all in. When I was doing music, I think it was a 24/7 mental thing. I was always thinking about it, and it's the same approach now with Stone and Skillet. And there are always going to be fires to fight. Every single day, there's a fire to fight.
Sure.
And a new problem to solve. My approach is always, let's over communicate through it. Let's all sit down, get a plan together. I rely heavily on a great team that we've built.
Sure.
And that keeps me motivated. I think the number one thing in business personally is kind of who you're working with.
Yeah.
And if you work with great people, that's the time that you're spending the most is with the people that you have, right?
Right.
So if you have great people that you're working with, I think it can motivate you to continue to move forward no matter what the challenges are in front of you.
Sure.
And listen, I think as entrepreneurs, we've all been in that place where you don't know, how to keep the lights on
That's
one
right,
day
that's
or
right.
whatever it is. And you just lean in and, you kind of get out on the other side and just keep pushing.
Yeah. It's still the brothers. All the brothers are still in the business.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever
still the
just
brothers still?
Do y'all ever just sit down and look at some of these purchase orders from these big companies and go, wow, we have really created something here?
No, totally. And then I shout out my brother Kyle, who really had the idea, and we all collectively have put effort in to make it what it's become over
Sure.
the years. But none of us would be here without that spark of that idea.
Sure.
And I think he saw the vision very early on in 2013 of there's a void in this market, and there's a real opportunity for a premium English muffin. And I think that was a fantastic idea, and it's amazing to do business with family. It's one of the most rewarding things.
Oh yeah, sure.
While also being, of course, a
little challenging,
a different challenge. But nobody's more loyal than family, right?
Right.
So that's
right.
a key part of it.
That's right. There's no question. Anybody ever contact the guy that said, "No, I'm only in the bread business, and we're not going to do muffins"?
He's got a great business himself, so I think he's doing well.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Ken Meekins, who's the recording artist turned co-founder and an incredible company called Stone and Skillet, he's the CEO of that company today. Just real quick, 10 years from now, what does the company look like with your vision?
We really want to be that market leader. We want to be the name that's in every household, that's really providing a premium English muffin and beyond. We think that the consumer is moving towards these type of options in the grocery store, and we want to be in every household in America and beyond.
That's great.
Providing great quality products to people.
That's fantastic. Cam Meekins, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I know that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to your story and have become very inspired by it. So thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate it.
Now send me a bag of those muffins, will you, please?
Absolutely.
So I keep my pockets with hand warms. I'm the man for 'em, but labels, they don't see me. But why should I care when everybody wanna be me? From A to Z, B, my flow alphabetical. I spit it, it's medical.
Thanks for watching another edition of the Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.